SEC bias. There's SEC. The ESPN just loves the SEC. It's SEC bias. Hey, you want to know who really has SEC bias? I've told you idiots this before. Every time you cry in the comment section or somewhere on the internet or social media about how ESPN just has SEC bias. The coaches poll just has SEC bias. Oh, you know who has SEC bias? The AP poll. Hey, the playoff committee just had SEC bias. The SEC, you know who really has SEC bias? I've been telling you idiots this for years. The only person, the only entity, or whatever, that actually has SEC bias is the NFL. The SEC completely dominated the NFL draft yet again this past weekend for the umpteenth year in a row. And I'm going to rub it in and tell you how right I am and wrong you are right now. Guess what I got? Hey, guess what I got? Copious notes for you. Is this right? This can't be right. I must have wrote this down wrong. SEC, 63 players drafted. Now, the Big Ten tried hard, 48. It was 15 away. But listen to this. The ACC and the Big 12 combined had 48. So SEC 63, ACC Big 12 combined 48. SEC bias. Type about it. Cry about it even. I don't know. Listen. It's time to face facts and realize that the possibility does exist that the reason the SEC completely dominates you, Ohio State fan, is because the SEC is just better. It is possible that the SEC is just better than you. You have to at least admit that possibility exists. You guys are on and on constantly with this SEC bias crap. Listen, it's just ridiculous. I could rattle off the list of national titles from conference to conference. I could rattle off the Power 5 records against each other, right? SEC versus every other conference, winning record, not close. Ohio State's winning percentage all time. The SEC's only been good for 10 to 15 years. Great, amazing, unbelievable. Why is Ohio State's record then all time against the SEC 5-12? Why? Why is that? It's just that the bowl record is like 2-11. It's just pitiful. Every time you have a good year and get matched up in a bowl game against a similarly good or ranked SEC team, they humiliate you. You're 2-11 in bowl games. So, and I'm mentioning Ohio State, but there's a lot of fan bases who fall into this ignorance boat when it comes to this SEC bias dribble that you keep spewing year after year after year after year after year. And all that keeps happening is the SEC keeps winning games, the SEC keeps winning national titles, the SEC keeps beating you, and the NFL keeps drafting SEC players at an alarming rate. Jesus Christ, Georgia and the rest of the SEC just completely humiliated the NFL draft. Now, there was a few teams non-SEC. That snuck in there, but LSU clearly on top here, 14 players drafted. Then you have two Big Ten teams after that, but I did give credit to the Big Ten as a whole. But Michigan 10, Ohio State 10, Bama 9, the Taters, Clemson managed a way to get 7 players drafted, Florida 7, Georgia 7, Utah 7. The Pac-12 had more players drafted than the Big 12 and the ACC. What are we doing here in the landscape of college football when a women's softball conference, the Pac-12, has more players drafted into the NFL than the ACC or the Big 12? It's just, I mean, it's pitiful. Shout out to these Georgia players, though. JaJuan Jennings. I gotta talk about you. Let's talk about JaJuan Jennings in a minute. Just a Tennessee fan. Hold tight, my brother. Yeah, hold tight. It's coming. Yeah, it is. I promise. Andrew Thomas, right? Top 5 pick, went 4th overall to the New York Giants, offensive tackle. Listen, I'll be honest. I was a little surprised Andrew Thomas got picked that high. Not because he's not that good, because he is. You're talking about a guy, Andrew Thomas, who started day one as a true freshman when he showed up at Georgia, played right tackle his freshman year, left tackle his sophomore and junior year, now goes pro, drafted 4th overall to the Giants. The guy's absolutely amazing. I think he got 1 sack in 3 years. And listen, SEC bias. Okay, well, listen, you're going week in and week out in the SEC. You're going against some of the best edge pass rushers college football has to offer. Andrew Thomas handled almost all of them without a problem. Just one of the best offensive linemen, consistently good offensive linemen Georgia's had in a long, long time. So I got no issue with him going 4th. I just was surprised that he did because, in my mind, there's 4 or 5 offensive tackles, maybe even 6 offensive tackles in this year's draft that not necessarily are the same, but that are really, really good. 5 or 6 that day one starters in the NFL, I think. Andrew Thomas, one of those. Iowa had one. Alabama had one. Anyway, several of them. And the Giants had several needs. I kind of thought the Giants would take Isaiah Simmons there. They didn't. They went with offensive tackle. Shout out to Andrew Thomas. We're going to miss him. Georgia's recruited great on the offensive line, but Andrew Thomas's ain't growing on trees. Let's just be real. Other offensive tackle, our right tackle, 1st round, pick number 29 to the Titans. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Titans were good last year. It sort of came out of the blue. Sort of an anomaly. Let's be real. Derrick Henry, not that good. He had 1 good year. You didn't know anything about Derrick Henry the 2 or 3 years prior to that. But he did have a good year last year. Titans had a decent season, but we'll see what they can do next year. But congrats to Isaiah Wilson. Huge kid here. This guy showed up at Georgia. He was like 6'6", 360. I mean, just ridiculous out of, I think, the Bronx, New York. No, he's from New York City area. I think it was the Bronx. Anyway, congratulations, Isaiah Wilson. Good job, sir. DeAndre Swift. A little surprising that he went in the 2nd round. I thought Swift would be the first running back taken. And listen, I'm not saying that Clown Edwards-Helaire is not a decent running back. Clown Edwards-Helaire is a decent running back. But look at the running backs available in this year's draft. Swift, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins. Those guys, in my opinion, all 3 better than Clown Edwards-Helaire. Clown Edwards-Helaire went at the end of the 1st round, the first running back, the only running back taken in the 1st round. Swift gets taken early here in the 2nd round to Detroit. What, the 2nd or 3rd pick of the 2nd round. DeAndre Swift to the Detroit Lions. Oh, jeez. Man, you hate to see that. Barry Sanders, Matt Stafford, the best running back and best quarterback the Lions have ever had. They drove Barry Sanders to early retirement. Calvin Johnson, one of the best wide receivers of all time, drove him to early retirement. Matt Stafford, I think the youngest quarterback ever to hit 40,000 yards, but the Lions haven't won a playoff game since like Jimmy Carter was president or something. It's just insane. It's just been forever. DeAndre Swift headed to Detroit, though, teaming up with ex-Georgia. Not teammate, too far apart there, but Georgia alum Matthew Stafford. Shout out to DeAndre Swift. I think he'll have a successful NFL career. And let's do some thoughts and prayers for our old buddy, Kerryon Johnson. Yeah, he'll be looking for a job. Sorry for your luck, Barner. Kerryon Johnson. Nah, come on, he hasn't been that good. He wasn't that good in college, to be honest. Gus Malzahn gave him the ball 40 times a game, ran him into the ground. We knew he was never going to be nothing in the NFL because Gus Malzahn finds one good running back every 2 or 3 years and runs them into the ground, just why you never see a Barner running back do anything in the NFL, such as the case with Kerryon Johnson. Pack your bags, buddy. DeAndre Swift be taking your job without a problem. Who else? Solomon Kinley, offensive guard. Fourth round to the Dolphins. So he'll be responsible for protecting the human pineapple. Tua yaga. Whenever Tua gets around to getting eligible to play, word on the street is that he's not playing this year. The Dolphins are going to basically medically redshirt him. No such thing as a red shirt in the NFL, but I think you understand what I'm saying. I don't expect Tua to play much this year based on what I heard the talking heads say the night of the draft. But of course, the pineapple did go to the Dolphins. Solomon Kinley there, going to be his job to protect him down the road. My thoughts are clear on the pineapple. I would not have taken the pineapple in the first round. Now, from a pure talent standpoint, and if you're looking for the player maybe with the highest possible ceiling, Tua could be that guy. I think Tua, pure talent and athletic ability-wise, is better even than Joe Burrow. However, no way I would take Tua in the first round. The injury risk is just way too high. This guy lived in the injury tent for 2.5 years at Alabama. Of course, he had the hip thing, which was the worst injury that he had, but that's actually the least of my concerns. It's not that he had a bad hip injury. You can recover from that. It's that, forget the hip injury, the guy was just hurt constantly. Knee braces, ankle braces, limping, carried off the field. Hell, toted off the field on stretchers. And it became a running joke, but it's 100% true. There is not a player in the history of football who has spent more time during a game in an injury tent than Tua Tagovailoa. This guy was in and out of that tent literally every time he came off the field. Every offseason, Alabama would give him this top secret ankle surgery that, they think they're the only ones that know how to do. Like ankle surgery got invented last week or something. God bless the Gumps, but come on, it's ankle surgery. But the point is, there's a risk anytime you take a player in the NFL draft. But if you're going to take a player that high, you need to take a player with the least amount of risk possible, in my opinion, and that's not the pineapple. It's not that I wouldn't take the pineapple. I would in maybe the second or third round. I would not draft the pineapple top 5 strictly because of the injury issues. We'll see how it works out for the Dolphins. Solomon Kinley, shout out to you, sir. You'll, like I said, be your job to protect him. Let's see, who am I forgetting? Oh, yeah, Charlie Warner. This one kind of surprised me. It's hard to tell about Georgia tight ends and really receivers in general because we were hamstrung the last 3 seasons with a vastly overrated and below average quarterback. So it's hard to really tell, are the tight ends great, good, average, below average, what? I don't know. Somebody saw something they liked in Charlie Warner, though, namely the 49ers. They take him in the 6th round, pick 190 overall. Of course, the 49ers have George Kittle, either the best or second best tight end in all of the NFL. Depending on who you listen to. And of course, hey, Gronkowski, back at it again. Gronkowski and Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, one last ride. So maybe he's the third, I don't know. But anyway, Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. I mean, those are the elite tight ends in the NFL. Charlie Warner gets picked up by the 49ers. Clearly, they're looking at him in a backup or maybe a special teams role. He's not taking George Kittle's place. Come on, let's just be real. And Tay Crowder. Now, I was glad to see Tay Crowder get drafted 7th round, 255 overall to the Giants. Tay Crowder's a good story. Shows up at UJ as a running back. Now, even if you hate Georgia, we get a couple of pretty good running backs every single year. And it was clear early on in Tay Crowder's career, he was never really going to break through at the running back position. Well, it just so happened that around the same time, we had some issues at the inside linebacker position. Some weed issues, some other things too. Shout out Natrez Patrick. So anyway, they talked to him about possibly switching to inside linebacker. He jumped at the opportunity. He did okay for a year or so, but last year, he really took off at the inside linebacker position. It's hard to watch Georgia play defense last year, and we kept hearing this all year, like a no-name defense. Georgia's defense was one of the best we've seen in college football over the last 15 to 20 years. Just go back and look at the numbers. 1 rushing touchdown all year long. It was just insane what Georgia's defense did last year. And Tay Crowder was a big part of that. Now, I don't think Tay Crowder's going to be a superstar in the NFL. I don't. He's not quite big enough, not quite strong enough, not quite fast enough. So, he's not really great in any one area, but he's not really bad in any area either. He's sort of just good across the board. I would love to see him prove me wrong and really catch on with an NFL team, whether it be the Giants or, if they release him and he goes somewhere, whatever the case. it would be a really, really good story. But I really like Tay Crowder, a very unselfish player, right? A team first guy. Take a look at some other players we know that maybe wanted to play a certain position. They were tried to talk. They were tried. They were. People tried to convince them to play another position, is what I'm trying to say. And because they're hard-headed, they didn't do it. And now they're no longer in the NFL. Shout out Tim Tebow, though. Congratulations. How are those bus rides in the minor league baseball system working out for you? Let me know. I think he lost his virginity or whatever. I don't know. I guess he got married. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so shout out to all the... I missed one here. Missed one. Who is this? Oh, shout out Jack Fromm, round 5, 167 to the Bills. Listen, what was he, the 8th quarterback taken? Fromm's just not an NFL quarterback, period. I'm not going to turn this into a bash Fromm video. I appreciate what Fromm did for UGA, which was he didn't lose us very many games. And that's honestly the best thing you can say about him. He's not a game changer. He's not an elite athlete. He's not a playmaker. You surround a guy with elite athletes, he's not going to do a whole lot to cost you a whole lot of games. But if you need him to win a game for you, it ain't happening. Sorry, it's just not. He's the slowest quarterback I've ever seen. He ran a 5-second 40. He's not tall enough. His hands aren't big enough. I mean, he's just, again, he doesn't meet any of the benchmarks the NFL are looking for. And you can overcome some of those things, right? Like people, Kyler Murray's 5'9". Yeah, but he can run for 1,000 yards a season. Fromm can't run for 1,000 yards in his lifetime, okay? 3 years at Georgia, he had negative 40 yards rushing. You know how hard that is to do in modern football, to have negative 40 yards rushing over the course of your career as a quarterback? That's extremely hard to do. But he did get drafted. He'll get a shot in Buffalo. They got Josh Allen up there. He's cemented as the starter. But their backup, Matt Barkley, is, well, he ain't no good. And he's in the last year of his deal with Buffalo anyway. So if Fromm gets up there and can act right, and, NFL teams love a backup quarterback who can learn the playbook and sit in the corner and be quiet and not draw a bunch of attention to themselves. And that's Jack Fromm. He can definitely do that. Play quarterback at an elite level? No. I couldn't be happier for Fromm that he's in the NFL. Couldn't be happier. Because that means he's not at UGA. It's time for Georgia to go in a different direction offensively. You're going to see that this year. I've been saying it forever, since January when he said he was leaving. You're going to see a different UGA offense. I don't know who's going to play quarterback. Jamie Newman, what's his name? Carson Beck, Dwan Mathis, a combination of the three. But I'm here to tell you right now, Georgia's quarterback numbers in 2020 will exceed anything Fromm ever did at the University of Georgia. Quarterback numbers will have more total yards from the quarterback position this year than we ever had in the last 3 years with Fromm. We'll have more rushing yards. Everything will just be more. Interceptions might be more too. That's fine. If you can give me 40 touchdowns, I'll give you 10 interceptions. I'd rather have 40 touchdowns and 10 interceptions than 28 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And is it too much to ask to give me, I don't know, 20, 30 yards rushing per game? No. Think about, here's what he said. Oh, Jamie Newman had like 300 or 400 yards rushing. Do you have any idea how many first downs it is? How many drives extended that is if you have a QB that has 300 or 400 yards rushing over the course of a season? Most of those carries come on third down. Hey, hello. Jesus, Fromm can't run from here to there. Let me stop. Let me move on. What the hell else is going on here? Nothing? Nothing. So shout out to all the Georgia players who got drafted. J.R. Reed should have got drafted. Now, I don't think he's going to be a star in the NFL. He's another example of a guy who does everything good, doesn't really do anything great. He was great at Georgia because he fit the system perfectly with what Kirby wanted him to do back there on defense. But his arms aren't long enough, and you say, well, what does that matter? That stuff like that is important in the NFL. Also, his closing speed, he really doesn't have any. If someone gets by him or he has to close to a sideline, he's not the best at it. That's not my opinion. Read the scouting reports. So I'm not shocked that he didn't get drafted. You're talking about a guy that started multiple years at UGA. He was some kind of awards finalist for whatever the defensive backs is. But so I feel bad that he wasn't drafted, but I'm not completely shocked. And Hot Rod, and the thing about Hot Rod is, Hot Rod will always be one of my favorite players of all time at Georgia. He didn't get drafted. I was kind of holding out a little bit of hope that maybe he would. Now, someone will pick him up. Someone will sign Hot Rod, and he'll get an opportunity to try out for kicker. But you got to remember, a lot of teams just don't draft kickers, period. You know how we complain all the time, or at least I do, in college, you got to take the kicking position seriously. You hear me say it all the time. Go get a scholarship kicker. There's still a ton of teams in college that don't go get a scholarship kicker. They still go to walk-on route. Hot Rod was a walk-on, earned a Scully his second year, but he was a walk-on. The NFL's still the same way. A lot of these teams just don't draft kickers. So it is what it is. He'll always be one of my favorite players of all time, regardless of what he ever does in the NFL, period. Now, here we go. JaJuan Jennings. Now, this bum, JaJuan Jennings. Now, somebody did draft him for no reason. The 49ers, late in the 7th round. He wasn't technically Mr. Irrelevant, but let's be real. JaJuan Jennings has been completely irrelevant since midseason 2016. This guy is a perfect example of somebody who peaked way too early. Way too early. JaJuan Jennings, caught by Jennings. Congratulations. JaJuan Jennings, you caught the Hail Mary against Georgia in 2016 to beat us. Congrats. A completely meaningless season for you. You managed to beat Georgia and Florida in that year and still not win the division. How's that possible? Well, because you lost to South Carolina and Vandy to end your season. All you had to do was beat one of them. Nope, couldn't do it. Lost them both. But yeah, JaJuan Jennings caught the Hail Mary way back in 2016 to beat UGA in Athens. Tennessee's biggest win since 1998. I mean, they got statues and shit all over campus about it. The following year, 2017, spring practice, they actually wheeled out a cardboard cutout of JaJuan Jennings jumping up in the air and catching that Hail Mary. They set the thing in the end zone, and they had their players go to the 50-yard line and see could they hit the cardboard cutout of JaJuan Jennings. But somebody did draft this guy. And listen, the only person I can think of that's slower at their position than Fromm is JaJuan Jennings. This guy ran, what did he run, like a 4.8 40? This guy, JaJuan Jennings, I didn't think he would get drafted. I'll be honest, I'm surprised. This guy peaked in 2016. He did nothing memorable, remarkable, noteworthy, or of any import since that catch in 2016. But again, congratulations, because it means the Voltard beat UGA one year, which is absolutely amazing. It's just mind-boggling and mind-bending. It's head-scratching and hair-raising, too. But, of course, you got rid of that coach, and now you got the Charlie Brown of football, Jerome Pruitt. This guy can't beat Georgia, can't beat Florida. Butch Jones did. Not Jerome Pruitt, though. Butch Jones didn't lose to Georgia State either. But back to JaJuan Jennings. Shout out JaJuan Jennings for getting drafted for 49ers. You're not going to make the team. Practice squad, about like Josh Dobbs in Pittsburgh, just treading water. Anyway, shout out to everybody that got drafted. Lifelong dream come true for a lot of these players here that got drafted over the weekend. Shout out to all of them. Good luck to all of them. Have a good morning.